Gosh, it's so humid out here. Hello, welcome back to another episode of Monday Coffee with the Doll. It is Monday, the beginning of a new week, the beginning of new possibilities, and I have a theme for this week. All of my cats are below me crying. They want rubbins. Yes. So, I decided that since May is Mental Health Awareness Month, I thought that I would kind of do a mental health awareness week on Monday Coffee with the Doll. So this episode is basically just going to focus on mental health and anxiety and depression and what I do, my story with it, my connection with it, and stuff like that. I thought that that was a good topic, since I know that a lot of people who follow me because I talk about that stuff openly, and also it's something that even if you haven't heard me talk about, or you're a new viewer, that the majority of us can all connect on this topic in one way or the other. So on Monday Coffee with the Doll, Mental Health Awareness Edition, we're going to talk about all kinds of things that we might not want to talk about, but also I thought that I could share like how I've gotten over some of my issues, things that I've learned, things that help me get through episodes and things like that. So sharing is caring, and this is a good topic to share on, so that's what we're going to be doing this week. So I've been struggling with anxiety since I was around probably 7 or 8. I had my first panic attack in 3rd grade, so that's kind of where I judge that around, is when I started having panic attacks. I lived my whole life up until I started learning about anxiety and that even being a thing. From 3rd grade until I was about 24. I thought I had asthma, and that's what I thought panic attacks were. I thought that I was having an asthma attack, because that's kind of how my family had described it to me, as that's the issue that I was having. I've never been diagnosed with asthma. I don't have a hard time breathing. And now with all the research I've done and the learning and the growing, I figured out, oh, I was having panic attacks. I have anxiety. Go me! I think mental health and mental illness definitely comes from, I would say, my mom's side of the family, because I know my mom struggles with a lot of mental illness, and so do her sisters, and so do I. And I mean, it's obviously, you know, hereditary. It's a genetic thing. I don't know much about it on my dad's side of the family, and I'm not really too close with anybody. I'm friends with a few of my cousins on Facebook, but for the most part I've never heard anybody on my dad's side of the family talk about it. But that doesn't mean that they don't suffer from it. But I have talked to my aunts about it, and they're pretty open with me about how they've sought help to find what they need to balance their minds and their lives, and what works for them. My mom hasn't, and I really think that if my mom could accept her mental illness, she would be able to find things that help her feel better, and the beautiful parts of my mom would be more present and showcasing, instead of some of the darker sides. And I know she has a lot of personal struggles and a lot of things, and I don't want to talk about somebody else's you know, dealings with mental health, but I think that's where I get mine from. And the older I get, and the more I start to understand and look at my own mental health issues, I can see so much of what I went through growing up with my mom, and I see things that she did in myself, so I'm like, oh, okay. So it's definitely something that I think I've pulled from that side of my family. But I can definitely say that over the past 5 years, I've really looked at mental health and looked at my own personal issues and listened to other people and their personal issues, and you know, between anxiety, depression. I think there might be some bipolar, possibly, you know, manic type of behavior. And it's just all stuff that I'm learning and I'm discovering and I'm trying to understand. And it's a journey for sure, 100%. But over the past 5 years, I've really started seeing it as just part of who that I am. And it's just things that I have to find a balance with to live with every single day. And I'm gonna have really shitty days and I'm gonna have, you know, really good days. And it's just, I can't stress the fact that it's a journey. And I think so many of us struggle with trying to put out a perceived lifestyle or what we feel that we need to be or look like for other people. Really puts a lot of pressure on us when we're dealing with things like anxiety and depression and PTSD and, you know, mental triggers from abuse and toxic relationships, and like we have all these things stacked up that we're fighting against every day, and then we have this pressure that we have to look or be or live like this certain type of lifestyle or this image to be able to keep up with the Joneses type thing. And I think that it's really hard. And as much as so many of us feel like we're alone in these feelings and alone in these problems and things and struggles and heartaches, in the moment we feel so isolated, like we're the only ones. But if you really start being open and looking and understanding and listening, so many of us are just identical. And it's crazy how identical we are and how similar we are. And if we would just take the moment to stop like focusing on that thought of being alone, we'll realize that we're not alone at all. We just have to be more open. And I struggle with that. I'm not open. I'm not open. I'm a listener, and I'll try to help you with all of your problems, but getting me to talk about mine, the only time I talk about mine is when I'm trying to use it as a tool to help somebody else, and it's usually super dark and I make an inappropriate joke about it and people look at me like I'm crazy. But yeah, that's gonna be our topic this week, and I'm gonna share different things. So this is Monday, and I hope you guys are focusing on your mental health and who you are in this moment and taking care of yourself. So I'll be back with another update soon. It looks like it's about to storm, so I'm gonna take my foggy glasses and go inside. Deuces. Oh yeah, that's nice. That's cute. Well, that's reality. So, stress and anxiety, holla! So, since this is our mental health episode for Mental Health Month, I thought that I would kind of share a little bit about my mental health story. Yeah, story time. It's story time. Yeah, and I got my light. I gotta brighten up the situation because it's about to get dark. As dark as my eyebrows today. Oh my god. I needed to calm down with that brush. Yes. Anyways, I have anxiety right now. Can you tell? So it's Tuesday, and I feel a little on edge. I was looking at stuff online and just my newsfeed is such a mess. People are crazy. People are so aggressive and crazy. It's really hard to interact with people. I find myself like seeing something and I'll have an opinion on it. Like it'll trigger my brain and my brain will have a thought, go figure, and I'll have an opinion on whatever the topic is, and I'll talk about it to myself in my head, and then I'll just scroll on. Like I don't even try to have a conversation with people anymore. Especially if like I have a thought or opinion that is opposite to theirs, and it doesn't even have to be opposite, you know what I mean? You don't even have to have an opposite opinion. You can just have an opinion or like a different perspective on the same opinion, which ultimately you guys will have the same conclusion, but because your perspective on the opinion is different than their perspective, they lose their shit and rip your head off, and all of a sudden it's ridiculous. so I just keep scrolling. Like, I don't even try to talk to people for the most part. I don't even want to open that door. And when I'm very like on my own timeline, most of the people that I see and interact with, I have, you know, I very well like weeded out anything toxic or negative or just people that I mentally can't handle. Because my anxiety at this point, I can't handle it. And when I start seeing things and reading and feeding on it, I have a really hard time with controlling kind of the mood that sometimes it'll put me in. And that's one thing that I hate about my anxiety. Like, I have horrific mood swings from my anxiety, and I can feel myself getting out of control, and I hate it. I absolutely hate it. And it's a helpless feeling because it's also, I feel like, something that I have no control over. And I don't say that because, oh, this is just something, I do have control over it, but I feel like I don't have control over it because it's like no matter how hard I try in that moment, I can't get myself to get out of it sometimes. So anything that I know that triggers those types of attitudes, I stay away from. So yeah, but whatever. So I thought that I would share a little background on how I've lived with anxiety, and depression came way later in the game. But if I think back, I've been kind of reflecting today, and I was like, let me think back on one of my first experiences that I can remember with social anxiety. And because that was the first type of anxiety that I ever felt. And if you think back, like early on, school was definitely what triggered all of my anxiety. And I can remember in kindergarten, we went to a Christian school, a Christian private school for a little while. I went to kindergarten, I went to pre-K, kindergarten, and then my mom pulled me out and my other siblings out of that school before I went into the first grade. So I spent 2 years. And I very vividly remember like not wanting to go. Like in the morning, like it's almost time to leave the house. And you know, my mom would always pray over us before we left. And it was never like a fear that something was gonna happen to me. But I hated being away from home, and I hated being away from my family. Like those were my people, that's where I was comfortable. And I remember like my mom, she buttoned the top button on my sweater, and like all day I wouldn't unbutton it. Like I wouldn't take it off because my mom buttoned it, and it like gave me this sense of security. Also, I have a blanket. I'm a blanket person. I've had blankets since I was little, and the corners of the blankets I put between my fingers and I rub like this. I have my whole life. It's my thing. So when I was in kindergarten, my mom would cut corners off my old blankets and turn them into pocket blankies, and I would put them in my pockets, and I would stick my hands in my pockets and rub my corners like a fucking fiend. But it helped me. It helped me get through that time at school that I would struggle so much because I would just want to be home. Like when I would color things, I would color red, then blue, and then pink, because my grandma's favorite color was red, mine was blue, my mom's was pink. So I would like sandwich myself in between. Like I did crazy weird things, like, but I struggled so much from being away from home, and I hated it. So when we were homeschooled, it was ideal for me. Like it was an ideal thing. And then you know, my world was very secluded. My world was very small and secure, and I was very well taken care of, very loved. We were spoiled rotten. Like I have no like childhood traumas. But when my mom and my grandma kind of hit a crossroads in their relationship, because we lived with my grandma, my dad was a truck driver over the road, so my mom, my brother, my sister, we lived in my grandma's house, and they hit a crossroads in their relationship, and my mom and my grandma just couldn't coexist anymore. They were too different, and it was just fighting nonstop. And I was kind of put in this place where it was like, pick your mom, pick your grandma. And my grandma never put that pressure on me, ever, and neither did my mom. But I still felt very torn because the two people in my life that I loved more than anything were fighting, and it was ugly type of fighting. Like, it was hard. You know how family fights are. I mean, I'm fighting with my own parents. Like, it's awful when you fight with your parents, so I can't imagine how hard that was on them. But when I was little, it was really hard on me, and my mom decided to pull us out of homeschool and put us back into public school when I was going into 3rd grade. And oh my gosh, like, that was terrifying. I remember being absolutely terrified. We had just moved into our first apartment complex after she moved out of my grandma's house, and we were swimming in the pool when she told all of us, and I was just like, wait, what? Like, the idea of 2 homes was scary, but I knew that my grandma would be at one home and my mom would be in another home, and I just went back and forth, and I went back and forth for years and years and years. But it was a difficult transition, and I remember all of a sudden, like I said, everybody in my family thought I had asthma, and I'd never been diagnosed. I'd never gone to the doctor, but my mom would just go to like CVS or Walgreens and pick me up a Primatene Mist over-the-counter inhaler, which in hindsight, it was probably horrible for me because I didn't have asthma. I was having panic attacks. And I just remember it always being just hard to catch a breath and hard to breathe, and I would start panicking, and that's what everybody thought. Oh, she can't breathe, she has asthma. It's not, and that wasn't the case at all. And in 3rd grade, I had my first full-blown panic attack, like in public school, and I just couldn't handle it anymore. I hated going to school. At one point, I started dressing like my brother, like exactly like my brother, wore his clothes, and I wanted to hide. I was insecure. I was scared. Felt out of place. You know, this was just in 3rd grade, and I went to the nurses, and they made me talk to the school counselor, who I very much remember feeling like I was being so dismissed in my feelings. Now, really, all of this was just a whole build-up. You know, my mom and my grandma are fighting, my mom moves out, my family's breaking up as I know it, like, my brother and sister were kind of going their own ways because they were kind of enjoying the freedom. I was panicking. It was a lot of stress, and I was little. I was like, what, 8 years old? And my grandma ran, because she didn't have a car, my grandma ran blocks to get to my school when they called, because they told her I was having an asthma attack and I didn't have an inhaler, and she was coming up there to rescue me, but she didn't have a car. My mom was at work. She couldn't get a hold of her, and she first ran to the wrong school, because there was 2 Kennedy elementary schools where I grew up in California, and she ran to the wrong one first and then went to mine. So, like, I remember when she got there just feeling such relief. It's like, as soon as I saw my grandma, my person, I was like, thank God, I'm going home. But it was a horrible experience. Like, I felt terrified, confused. Here I am thinking, oh, I just can't breathe, it's asthma. But nothing, like, that never fixed anything, that never did anything. And I lived like that for a long time, thinking that that's what it was asthma. And I remember the next big panic attack I had was with my ex during some fight. I have a hard time talking about situations with him because those memories I've kind of blocked out. It's really hard to explain. I feel very detached from my past, almost like it was this foggy dream that never happened, and when I talk about it, I'm telling somebody else's story because I feel so detached from who I was at that point in my life that I can't even really connect. So it's really hard talking about and explaining any situation. I remember being on the couch hyperventilating, and I could not breathe. I was so worked up in the middle of whatever argument we were having. And I've talked about my past relationship in my other videos. It was very toxic, very controlling, very abusive. Just, it wasn't a good relationship. It was not healthy. From the age of 17 until I was about 23, it was just a very, very toxic. I feel kind of sick talking about this. But, you know, for all the way up until I left my ex-husband, I really just lived in this dark idea of, you know, thinking that there was something obviously wrong with me, but I had no clue. Like, depression, anxiety, those types of things were never discussed in my family, ever. And I remember right before we had our house fire and I was talking to my mom, I had just recently got on. Way to make me feel like I'm talking too much. Camera battery went dead. Right before our house fire, I told my mom that I had just got on antidepressants. And the reason I had done that was because it was my life and everything I was going through, my divorce, the custody battle. Those are hard enough, but coming out of the situation that I came out of, I felt like I was so blind, like completely flying blind. I had lived with somebody who controlled my entire life from the age of 17. No job, I graduated high school, but that's it. No job, no experience, no anything. Like, I had no experience in life other than what was dictated for me by somebody else. And I didn't realize it at the time. Once I broke out of that and I started kind of growing and living and figuring out reality, I started realizing that that wasn't the only person in my life that was like controlling things. So I was really terrified. I had no idea how to live life or to function as a human being and a grown-up, and I had 2 kids that I had to take care of and figure things out with too. So it was a huge just mess, and it was heavy. It was a heavy mess. And I told my mom, you know, that I wanted to see if it would help me. And I remember she told me, and I feel like I've never really had a real conversation with my mom or my dad at a real level. Like, it's just always been somehow sugar-coated to cater to the ideals and mindset that they already have. And it's never just been 100% raw and honest. But when she told me, you know, that she struggles with depression and that the time that she was on some medication during a situation at one point, and I very vividly remember that situation and how hard of a time she was having, and she went to the doctor and she didn't have insurance, so she couldn't afford like real medication, so he gave her like the samples, and she said that it was the most balanced and amazing she's ever felt. Like, it immediately seemed to start doing something. I am a firm believer that my mom struggles with a lot of mental illness and has her whole life, and that's why she's struggled in the areas that she has, and she's never sought help for it. And it crushes me because my mom is so fucking beautiful. Like, she's such a vibrant human being. And I think that if she could get balanced and focus and really see life clearly without the fog that I think she struggles with, I think she could do amazing things. But unfortunately, I'm the only voice and I was cast off the island. So it sucks, but it's a good thing we have this bright ring light with how dark this conversation is getting. But yeah, I've struggled with a lot of things as far as anxiety and panic attacks and stuff like that goes, and it was just really hard because I had no concept of what anxiety was or you know, it wasn't even in my mind until I got a divorce. And like I said, I started living and I started interacting with other people, because I wasn't allowed to really have connections or talk to people. Or, you know, when you constantly are accused of cheating on just with anybody, everybody, all the fucking time, when like the mailman's footsteps in the snow are questioned, you stop trying to have any interaction with anybody, because then you don't have to explain anything. You don't have to be, you know, harassed and bombarded with all that bullshit. So when I got out of that and I really started seeing life and people and humans and reality, I started looking into all of this stuff, and it was crazy. It was crazy to finally feel like I had a grasp on something that I could start working through. And this has only been like over the past 6 years, and I wouldn't even say 6 years, more like 4 to 5, because there was definitely a transition period. But it's been a huge learning experience. I had no idea in the beginning, and now I feel like I have a concept of what I'm up against. So now I can start taking it on how I need to take it on for me. And I think the thing that helps the most is realizing that it's a part of my life. And I worked really hard trying to pretend like it wasn't there, or it was just gonna go away, or it wasn't real, or it was some, you know, bullshit. But that was hindering my growth and my progress in growing in myself, and finally realizing that this is just a part of so much, and there's so much more outside of this. It's a struggle. I have really bad days sometimes. I have horrible days sometimes, and everything in my life is affected by it. My content, my progression in my brand, my kids, my husband, me, my friends, like everybody in my life. You guys have gone. I've stopped creating content before because I can't keep going and I can't focus, and you guys always just kind of sit and wait, and you're like, well, when she comes back, we'll be here. And I can't even begin to tell you guys how much that helps me continue to push on and continue to try and hit another milestone, conquer another thing in my life, because you guys tell me that it's helping conquer yours. So that's enough for me. But that's this story time's conclusion and the end. Hey, so it's Wednesday. Happy hump day, first of all. So as we continue on our mental health week, right, Lulu? One of the things that I've always done that's helped me feel mentally better is get up, get dressed, put makeup on. I've said this before. I do like just anything, a little bit of bronzer, a little bit of blush, my eyebrows, just anything, just putting myself together. And a lot of people would say, well, that's superficial, and you're just trying to make yourself look good for other people, or whatever type of excuse they would personally feel about it. Yes, and completely disregard how I am saying it makes me feel. And I think doing things to make yourself feel better about yourself is a huge hug to your mental state. Like, if you feel like dog shit and you feel like you look like dog shit, it's gonna hurt you mentally. It's gonna make you feel down. It's gonna make you feel down on yourself. It's gonna just make you feel blah. And I personally feel better when I put myself together, and it's not for anybody else. It's not for anybody else's gratification, or for them to like looking at me, or whatever type of excuse or opinion you want to put on it. When I look my best and I feel confident, I mentally feel more in the game that day. So that's my tip. male, female, I don't care, anything in between. When you get up and you put yourself together and you feel confident in your own body and your own skin, it definitely gives your mental state a boost. So if you're feeling just blah and yucky, don't think about what somebody else is going to think about it. Get up, throw yourself together. It could be a little bit, it could be completely dolled up, whatever it is. Doesn't matter if you're going to be at the house, you're going to the grocery store, whatever. This is for you. It's for you to feel confident. It's for you to feel good about yourself. It's for you to feel in control. And something you can have control over is your physical appearance. So whatever it is, get up. Whatever you're doing, get up. Get dressed. It always makes me feel better. You don't have to do it. It might not work for you. But what I'm saying is, this is something that has worked for me for years, and I'm not going to stop doing it. I used to get super dressed up just to be around the house, and I don't do that anymore because it's not where I feel mentally like where I need what I need. I don't need that super dolled up look anymore to feel confident and comfortable. Now it's just eyebrows, a little bit of bronzer, a little bit of blush, definitely some highlighter. And I put my hair up, I get dressed, and I just feel way more ready to be able to handle things. It calms me down and helps me kind of focus. Once I have myself together, I feel like I can get everything else together. So that's one of my tips for I don't know, feeling in control. What do you say? What do you think, Lulu? So we're gonna get back to our makeups because we are doing our makeups. Yeah, we're doing our makeup. Yeah. I love you. Thank you for not judging me. So, but that's it for right now. I might have more life hacks later. So, bye. Need to eat? Come on. Come on, babies. Come on, babies. Come on. Let's go. We're going over to the cat food area. In our little area, we're going to be turning into a cat-friendly place. So this is where they all eat. Hi, W. And this is where we get our food. Yes, babies. Yes, babies. Mama, are you being nice? Come on, guys. I'll put some more over here. Come here. Kitty food, kitty food, kitty food everywhere. Kitty food, kitty food. Hello, babies. Everybody eat. Hi, Skitsy, Skitsy. So many babies. So many babies. Now I'm back inside to where the other babies are. The boys left their cones out here playing baseball. They're gonna get in trouble because they're gonna kill the grass. Come on, Miss Fuggles. Come on, Fugly. Come on. Are you coming with me? Or are you gonna sun yourself? Come on, Fugly. Here come the kitties. They're gonna get you. Those are my babies. Yep. My babies. Now I'm going back inside. So, yay me. So it's Friday, and I am out here picking up the cones that the boys use when they play baseball because they left them out here and the sun is getting high in the sky and it's going to kill the grass, and nobody wants that. Nobody wants that. We've been doing a lot of mental health, taking care of our mental health outside in our house. So that's what we've been doing. So when it's just too much inside, we get outside, and it really has been helping like a ton. I highly recommend spending some time outside every day. Recharge yourself with the vitamin D, especially if you're social distancing from whoever usually gives that to you. Ayo! Oh my god, that was terrible. But yes, it's been a slow week. Lucy's teething really bad, so I've just mostly been paying attention to her because she's my baby and that's my job. I got some breakouts going on, so that's exciting. World's like, it's not hard enough, we're gonna throw some zits on your 30-year-old face. Like, I made it all through my teen years without getting acne, and then I turned into an adult and it's just been a struggle. It probably doesn't help that I pretty much wash my face with baby soap and then put baby lotion on it. Not baby lotion, it's whatever lotion I'm putting on my body, I just rub on my face, so that's definitely not. I think I need to do some mental health self-care and do some masks, and I need to paint my toenails really bad. But, you know, honestly, I just don't care. Is that bad? I just don't care. I'd rather be outside watching my kids play baseball, petting all my cats, and eating ice cream than paint my toenails. So that's how I do my self-care. Whatever you do your self-care, more power to you. So, but I should head back inside because I bet you little Lucille, oh, that's my Chonky. Chonky, we need to go inside. See, I have an outie Chonky and an innie Chonky because they both look identical and they're sisters. So I call them the innie and outie twins. The inside Chonky that stays with me inside and the outside Chonky that stays outside. So I thought it was hilarious when I came up with that. Oh, it's an innie Chonky and an outie Chonky. We'll call them the innie and outie twins. Ah, I thought it was hilarious. So lame, but I like it. Come on, my sweet angel girl. I know. Where have you been? Where have you been? I've missed you so much. I've missed you. Yeah. Okay. Come on. No fighting, everybody. Lord. So, I'll be back later with my more information on something. I don't know. But until then, happy Friday. I love your faces. Mwah, mwah, mwah. Look, there they are. It's the innie and outie twins. Come on, Chonky, we need to go inside. Hello, baby Chonky. Hello, baby Chonky Chonk. Chonk, chonk, bonk, bonk. Alright, are we rolling? We are rolling, Lily. Yes, we are. So, hello. It is Sunday. It's Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day to all my moms. Happy Mother's Day to all the mommies. Lily, say, Happy Mother's Day. Thank you for all that you do. Yeah. Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Lily, for letting us know how you feel. So, it's Mother's Day, and I'm outside, as you can tell. I tried to film something last night about what I wanted to share with you guys in addition to it being Mental Health Awareness Month and us talking about mental health and anxiety and depression. So I wanted to share with you guys some things that I've taken as far as like medication, supplements. I think that has a big part of your mental health, finding things that you can add to yourself, whether it be medication, whether it be supplements, whether it be, you know, whatever it is that you use and add to feeling better. I did a video last night, but I wasn't happy with the outcome of it. I feel like I over-explained and over-talked to the point where any information that I could have given you was lost. So I wanted to try again and do something better. Yeah, before Grandma gets here, huh? But it is Mother's Day, so I'll try to make this as quick as I can. I thought that this was a great place to do it. She'll sit quiet, and you know, this is what momming is. It's Mother's Day, and I'm balancing work, babies, and staying hydrated. So my tea, I'm drinking jasmine tea. I love jasmine tea. Unsweet. I like it bitter, like me. But I'm making my tea in my Pinned Up Doll Texas water bottle. Yeah, this was made by Monday Coffee with the Doll show sponsor, the Pinned Up Doll. She also made these amazing sunglasses. These sunglasses actually came in my Pin-Up surprise box, which she has all new for summer. So find the link below and get yourself some amazing goodies. Yes. She even makes really awesome things for kids and fellas, so it's not just woman oriented. She's got a lot of really cool stuff, so find her link below. So once I discovered, you know, that I was dealing with something like depression and anxiety, and I kind of had more of an idea of what I was doing, I could start looking into things and researching things that I could use to help myself. Yes. So I immediately, of course, decided to talk to a doctor who said that it definitely sounds like I'm struggling with anxiety mixed with depression, and it just like first like discussion, that's what she wanted to treat me for. So I was put on basically a generic version of Prozac is what I was told, and I was on it for a little while. I wouldn't say that it was a huge help. Sometimes I wonder what is real medical change, like that the prescription brought on, and what is just my mind, you know, somehow, well, now I'm taking medication, so my mind thinks, okay, now everything's gonna be better. Like, I always wonder what the balance is of that and what's real. I don't know, I probably overthink it, which is probably also my problem. But I was on that for a while, right, probably the last year that I was in Oklahoma, and then when I moved to Texas and I stopped working and I didn't have insurance anymore and I couldn't find a doctor down here, and it was just one problem after the next, I decided to start looking for more natural ways to treat. I'm getting attacked by a bug, Lily. A more natural way of finding things that helped. If I can not put any type of man-made chemical inside my body, then I'm definitely gonna go that route. I'm not saying that that route is for everybody. Also, I can't stress enough that some of us just need very specific doctor prescribed medication, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's 100% okay. You have to find what works for you, and there are a lot of people who take doctor prescribed medication that need that medicine, and it works for them and it helps them, and that's all I care about. You know, if you have talked to your doctor and you found something that works for you, is safe for you, that's what you need to focus on. For me, the prescription didn't make a big change or an impact, so I was okay seeking other things because I didn't have anything to lose at that point. So one of the things that I decided to start looking into, of course, was CBD, because how do you not look into CBD? It's everywhere. It's such a topic now where anything hemp or marijuana or CBD or anything in that nature was very taboo, but now it's becoming more normalized, and people are starting to really understand and see and experience the different benefits that things like medicinal marijuana, hemp, CBD, all of that can do. So I definitely looked into that, of course, and that was the biggest bug ever. hold on. We have to see where that went. Pause. I'll be right back. I'm freaking out, man. I don't know where that bug went. I started talking about, here, you want to see these? I started talking about medicinal marijuana, and all of a sudden, it's like, let's do something to freak her out, make her seem paranoid. Yeah. Anywho, I'm scared. We have some big stink bugs out here. Anywho, so I started, of course, trying with CBD, and CBD is one of those things, in my opinion, for me personally, that you just add to your natural supplements, just like you would take things like vitamin C or zinc or vitamin D. I think I already made a vitamin D joke, so I won't make another one of those. But I think CBD is one of those things that it benefits people in different ways. Some people say it helps with anxiety, and it didn't help me in that way. Some people feel like it's a mood stabilizer, and other people use it for pain, and it definitely helps me with things like pain for my back, because I do have my spine kind of looks like a question mark at the bottom, an upside down question mark. So I do have back issues sometimes, and CBD helps with that. All the CBD bath and body products that I use from Fizzy Treats, that's a huge thing. But taking it orally, in my opinion, it's just one of those things that kind of has to take time and build up in your system, and it'll start having positive effects, maybe in small ways or in big ways. It's just everybody's different, but for me it wasn't that big of a change, and it definitely didn't do much for my anxiety or my depression. Yeah, so far you've been the best medicine for that. Mommy's been doing good since you arrived. Have a star, 'cause you're a star. Stars upon bars, stars upon bars. So CBD is a good add-on, I think, to take every day, so I would highly recommend researching that. But the biggest, and then I also took fish oil. So I posted about having an issue with anxiety one day, and one of my followers contacted me, and she says, you need to try fish oil, because when I was overseas, I forgot my medication. I couldn't get to my medication. So I took, somebody recommended fish oil, and I took it, and it immediately helped me calm down. Like, it was a huge help to her personally, for her, you know, case. I'm not saying it's gonna help everybody, but I started taking that every day too, and that was a huge help. And then the next thing that I was taking, this was all before I got pregnant with Lucy. So the next thing I was taking daily was kratom. Now kratom is a natural supplement as well. It's a plant, but it's one of those supplements that's kind of taboo because it is so beneficial to people, and it's impacting people's lives so dramatically and helping them in such amazing ways. They're getting off of opioid painkillers, and a lot of big pharma people are not happy with that. So they're trying, some places don't look, like some states don't look kindly on kratom. So you need to definitely do your research on this one. It is just a plant. It is a plant that has been used by different cultures for pain relieving, for anxiety, for depression, for mood stabilizing, for so many different things. You can drink it as a tea, you can take it as a supplement. I take it as a supplement. I take the pill form because the tea is just nasty. Is that my booby? Happy Mother's Day to me. But it's one of those things that it does have some controversy, so you need to do your research on it. But kratom changed my life. Changed it. Changed my life almost as much as you changed my life, young tiny baby Yoda of mine. The more I talked about kratom and the more I shared about my use of kratom, I was hearing from more of my friends that were like, kratom changed my life. I don't take any of my medication anymore. Nothing worked, but kratom changed my life. And there's a few people who, most of what I've heard, and as far as me, it's been all positive. There are a few people out there that don't like it, that took it, that think it's the devil's drug, much like people who are against medical marijuana. But honestly, taking kratom daily changed everything for me. I was able to go to the store without feeling like I was going to have a panic attack. I was able to go to my kids' school functions without feeling like I was going to have a panic attack. I was able to, in the morning, focus, get things done. I was able to be creative. Like, it helped me in so many ways, all without that anxious feeling of I'm still not doing enough. I was able to focus and be calm, and I was able to, I think the biggest change, and that was the most helpful, was my mood swings. I have horrible anxiety mood swings, and it got control of those. And the thing that I hate most about my anxiety is that some of my triggers and some of the things I struggle with don't just affect me. It affects my kids, or it affects my husband. And I'm okay with suffering in silence, but I don't want them to be in the fallout in any way. And thankfully, I have a guy who understands all of my mess and embraces it and is so patient. And my kids, when they know I'm having a rough day, will just tell me, I'm sorry you're having a hard day, but I love you. And they just love on me all day to get me through it. So I'm very blessed. But kratom helped take away one of the things that I have that I wish I didn't have, that I feel like is a negative in my life that I need to work on. And with kratom, it helped me work on it. And it was a life changer. But it's something that you need to do research on. Yeah, just like everything else. The only side effect that I had from it was when I would take it one day, I'd be great, but if I tried to take it 2 days in a row, it would make me feel nauseous, and I would feel like I was going to throw up. So I started microdosing until my body kind of balanced with it, and I've been fine taking it daily without that ever since. So kratom, look at it. That's some good jasmine tea. Okay, do you want a drink? Here, you want some? Here you go, on your face. Ready? Here it comes. Ooh, Cody. Ooh, it's so cold. You see my gnarly bruise? I'd like to say I got it doing something cool, but that would be a lie. I probably hit it on like a dresser or something. So those are the things that helped me, that I started taking on a daily basis, and my whole life changed. It really did. I started finding my balance. I started finding my groove, where everything just kind of lined up. Now, when I got pregnant with Lucy, I stopped taking everything because kratom, for one, doesn't have enough research done on it. There's no research about how it is with pregnancy or breastfeeding. So 100% that just stopped immediately. I wasn't even gonna play that game. And then everything else I stopped as well. I stopped taking anything CBD just because, you know, my biggest fear was some states are okay with it and some states aren't. But then you have to worry about other people's personal opinions on it. So if you get somebody in a doctor's office that thinks CBD is the same as marijuana and THC and just has like a bad attitude about it and is negative anti, and they find out you as a pregnant person are taking that, they could report you, and that's a scary situation, right? So I didn't even want to play that game either. So I stopped taking anything CBD. My doctor was amazing, and she was very supportive, and I talked to her about all the things that I took. All these big loud trucks. for my anxiety and depression, and she immediately offered to write me a prescription for something to take during that was, you know, okay by doctors and a prescription and legal and all of that. But I wasn't comfortable putting anything like that into Lucy, who was growing, so I opted to just stop taking anything except my prenatals, and I did really great. I had some hard days, but fortunately for me, I seem to be doing really well. And now she's breastfeeding, so until she stops breastfeeding, I'm going to continue not taking anything or putting anything additional into her. That's just my choice. I'm not saying it's wrong or anybody else doing it differently is wrong. You just need to talk to your doctor about it, and you need to be open and honest and figure that out so you can take care of you in that situation and make sure you're healthy, because other than that, you know, do the right thing, stuff like that. So in closing for this segment, I think all I can say is always be smart, always do your research, always look into everything yourself, read, watch review videos, you know, do as much research as you can and learn about anything and everything you're going to be putting into your body. Then after whatever you choose to do, you need to make sure that you're getting pure, legit, certified, safe supplements and products wherever you're getting them from. I highly recommend our show sponsor, who is a head shop who deals in kratom, CBD, but is very, very knowledgeable and can help you and answer a lot of questions. Herbal equipment and distribution is linked below. You can click the link and you can contact them, and they also ship. So they'll be able to give you a lot of information, but still do your own research. That's a safe place to get from. You want to be careful because CBD is such a trendy thing right now. There's a lot of places that are pumping out product that's not safe. It's not good for you. A lot of products like kratom, they're not regulated by the FDA yet, so you need to be 10 times more careful than you would anyways. So make sure you're getting the products, supplements, vitamins, everything that you're getting from safe places 100%. Other than that, also know that everything is different for everybody. So what what I know. So what works for you and what works for me could be two totally different things. Some people can have horrible reactions to something that saves somebody else's life. So keep that in mind. That's why research is important, and also giving yourself time to adjust is really important to whatever you're taking. Things take time to build up into your system, but kratom is one of those things that you can feel after you take it. So like I said, do your research, look into these things that I've mentioned, see how you feel about them, and decide what works best for you. But always remember, most importantly, talk to your doctor about anything and everything you plan on doing. That way, you know, you just know that you're double safe. So that's but that's all I have to say about that. So I love your faces. I hope you guys are taking care of your mental health, because that's the most important thing right now. If you're having a bad day, know that that's okay too, because we all have bad days. So I'm gonna spend the rest of my Mother's Day with my littles, because they're my whole world. Yes, you are. And I will talk to you guys later. Say bye, Lulu. Bye. Don't pull my earring out. It's a kitty. Hello, and welcome back to the doll's final thought. So I thought that I would take the route of Jerry Springer. That's honestly what inspired the final thought wrap-up of the week. Yeah, watch a lot of Jerry Springer. You know, it brings me back to my childhood. It brings me back to my childhood when my aunts would let me watch it inappropriately at a very young age. Good times. Good times. Alright, so the final thought of the week is mental health is like a dance, and you have to learn the steps, and you have to practice the steps every single day so that you can consistently do this dance, have this fluidity to your life, and you constantly have to practice and you constantly have to perfect the steps because you want to be able to have the most epic, perfect dance to your life. And I think that all of us really get wrapped up in what we see online. If you think about it, our entire lives are dominated by social media, dominated by imagery and marketing and just total brainwashing on like epic scales. And it's our job to know when we need to grasp reality. And sometimes grasping reality will save you from a lot of things. That's a big change in my perspective, which has helped me in my mental health, is knowing when I need to focus on the reality and the facts of a situation and remove my emotions from it. Because if you can respond to things, you'll get a much healthier response. Like, the response may not be perfect, it may not be ideal or what you want, but when you respond, it forces people to face at face value what you're talking about, what you're putting out. And when they try to react to what you said emotionally, you just respond again, and ultimately it'll show you that certain people in certain situations, they don't want a solution, they just want negativity, and they want to be able to just continue feeding. And we get wrapped up in it, we get so wrapped up in it. And I think that when we kind of remove that from our main reality, our main focus, I think it kind of helps open you up to new perspectives. So, but I mean, I'm guilty of feeding on social media, I'm guilty of feeding on content and photography and modeling and makeup and things that I've let bother me, I've let seep in and cloud my perspective and cloud the reality of life or what's going on, because it's just unrealistic. And we try to put ourselves to these standards that they don't even exist. Like, it's all photoshopped, filtered bullshit, and we try to put ourselves into those molds that we were not meant to be in. Whoa, that got deep. So mental health, it's very serious. It's a very serious thing that I think we all, again, I've said this before, we feel alone in. We feel like nobody's gonna understand. We feel like nobody's gonna be able to accept us or be around us. And then when we start opening up and talking about it, it's like, oh my gosh, everybody, all of us struggle from the same things. Maybe if we were just, you know, more willing to listen and hear people. Plus, our mental health, like, there is nothing good for any of it, like government wise and care wise and like help and resources wise. They need to do better. That's another talk for another time, but I definitely feel like there is no help for mental health that's outside of, there's small organizations and people who dedicate their lives to spreading awareness for mental health and do what they can to help people with, you know, mental health disorders and illness, and those people are amazing and they work so hard, and higher up need to do what they should, you know, should be doing and helping the little guy to then help. But again, that's, I don't know. But that's gonna be it for this week. I hope that you guys are taking care of your minds, taking care of your energies, your who you are. I hope that you're not being too hard on yourselves. I hope that you understand that you're gonna have really bad days to get to the really good days, and it's okay to float slowly down that river until you reach the next warm pool of sunshine and happiness. And but I love you and I'm rooting for you. I hope that you are finding all of the positives that you can during this crazy, crazy, hectic quarantine time. Make sure that you guys check out the resources below. There's a lot of ways to contact me and get involved with the show, like sending your hot rod to me to be talked about on the Dolls Rod Talk, or writing in if you have a question or you need some advice that I can answer you on the show. You can also find links to all of our Monday Coffee with the Doll sponsors, like the Pinned Up Doll. We got Kulture, Deluxe, and Old School Rodz down there, who I'm going to be doing a giveaway with. I have to figure out how I want to do it, but I'm going to be doing a giveaway. Fizzy Treats and her head shop to do any Kratom talk, like I was telling you guys earlier. And don't forget Forever Above Me if you are looking for some original OG Monday Coffee with the Doll merch and some cool kin to the doll fam to follow. Forever Above Me are the guys, so just be sure to check them out. If you want to become a show sponsor, you can find out info there too. But other than that, I think that's it for this week. I love you guys to pieces. Yeah, so remember, these are the days that fill your week. Make them as amazing as you are. I will see you next week. Bye. Before I go, real quick, I want to say again, please do your research and always speak to your doctor before taking any and all supplements, medications, or any other type of drug or anything. Do your research, know what you're putting in your body, and get an okay from your doctor. I in no way condone people to do things that they have not looked into, they do not understand, and that they are putting into their bodies blindly. Please be safe in making sure that you are the healthiest you. I love you.